Hey, hey, we are back for another review of Sisters. We're on season 9, episode 13, entitled On My Own. And that's, foreshadowing for what Karen is going to be going through a lot this episode. So let's jump right into it. We know that she's been missing basically overnight. She went missing later on in the afternoon. We're late in the night. We're calling the cops. We're trying to figure out clues. We're trying to do everything to locate this lady that is in like postpartum depression, along with the baby that we're also haven't been able to locate. So we just reeling through all of that right now. Either way, we run into Officer Green, and he just came out of the apartment. He's been looking around while the ladies are showing up from their respective locations. And they need to know what he's found so far. And he has not learned anything new, but other than the fact that we learned nothing new about what's going on with Karen, other than the fact that her mom has filed a missing persons report. And if they don't hear from Karen and baby Faith soon, they're going to have to file an Amber Alert as well. So, we're hoping she shows back up in that time and we don't have to take those measures, but here we are. And he also tells the ladies that yes, he read the note, and he tells them that historically that could mean one or two things: that the person is contemplating unaliving themselves, or they've already done so. So of course that adds this extra layer of concern. It's also a pseudo validation for what everybody is assuming that Karen's done thus far. And we know by the end of the episode, just spoiler, that that's not the case, but that's what we are to assume by the note that she left. And I'm using air quotes because, we'll learn throughout this episode, she did not leave that for anybody. She was just brain dumping, so to speak, and just wrote her thoughts down. Either way, back on the other line, we know that at the end of last week's episode, she called Fatima. She entrusted Fatima. She remembered her phone number. She called Fatima. And so she's on the phone with Karen. And she's like, listen, I can't talk for long. I'm at some place. I can't have my phone for long. But she tells Fatima, like, listen, this ain't about Zach. This ain't Zach's business. You don't really need to call him and involve him. I can't explain right now, but I will text you an address, and I want you to come to said address, and I'll give a little bit more insight then. Of course, Fatima immediately gets off the phone. She's like, okay, girl, no worries. And she goes find Zach, and he's already gone. He left in the middle of the night to go be of assistance or just to be with everybody else at Karen's apartment during this thing, right? So she calls him, and she's kind of upset because you didn't wake me up. You didn't let me know that you were leaving. And she was about to, kind of maybe tell him what she learned on the phone with Karen, but they just doing this whole back and forth, pull and push thing. She doesn't tell him what she knows about Karen and where she's headed. So, of course, that's going to be a point of contention later on. But whatever. We see Karen. She's sitting in this sister circle-esque thing. We're assuming, this is like a grief counseling type of group with like-minded women who've had that type of loss or a similar type of loss. And she tells the ladies that she doesn't even recognize herself, and that she's looking into the mirror and there's a stranger kind of looking back at her. And she sees the stranger, but she sees the woman that's tired, and she tells him, like, listen, I love the baby, but sometimes she's afraid she's afraid to hold the baby for too long, because she's afraid that the baby's gonna sense and pick up on the fact that she is lost and broken in this moment. And then the beautiful thing is everybody has been assuring her, everybody in this group is assuring her and letting her know, like, girl, you're not broken, you're just healing. And she's thankful that she has found them, because, again, these are people that can actually sympathize, not just empathize, or vice versa. There's one you can relate to and one you can just hope to imagine to be of some sort of solace to somebody. And Forever Grace is the name of the healing space, and we know that the baby that she lost is forever, so that's kind of a angel wink to the fact that, hey, this is where she needs to be. So, very aptly named, and we're glad that she's found this group of people. And their mantra over at Forever Grace Circle is, through shared grief, we find strength. Very nice. I was so happy that she found, again, a group of like-minded individuals, because, being around your familiar people is hard to heal sometimes. Again, we'll talk about that when she goes back home, which, again, spoiler, she's going to go home this episode, and we can breathe a sigh of relief. Either way, we see Fatima kind of showing up at the end of the meeting, and she tells Fatima, again, she reiterates, like, girl, I was drowning. Everything was kind of caving in on me. So I decided that if I woke up, I wanted to wake up today and things be different. And it wasn't. Unfortunately, I woke up today, I didn't feel any different. Nothing changed, so I packed a bag and I left. She didn't really know what she was looking for, but she got up. She found a place online by way of the pamphlet that Dr. Vaughn gave her, and she just stumbled upon these people. And Brenda, which is the founder, the coordinator for the organization, tells her like, "Hey, girl, you were brave. Even you showing up was brave. It was commendable. We appreciate you being here." And Fatima tells her like, "Hey, everybody's going crazy because of that note. Everybody's panicked. So of course now we got to go home to do damage control, so to speak, because that was not her intention. Everybody's up in arms and they call the cops. And so now we got to go back home to kind of quell people's angst about her being missing, so to speak." Okay. I'm going to pause right here and say, understand everybody's frustration just to get ahead of what's coming next. Maybe a little text message out to the group chat would have sufficed. Maybe not, because we already know how this group goes. You send a message out or you say something that, if it ain't pockets and rainbows, everybody is now in, hey, talking you off of the ledge, so to speak. So I can understand why she might have hesitated. Maybe sending a message to Fatima since you trust her. Something to keep people from utilizing the resources that they had to, like tying up the police department and things like that. I don't know. But when you're in such a dire emotional situation, maybe logical, sound steps that people would normally put in place, you don't think to do. So I cannot fault her for that as well. And so we're talking, well, Fatima and Karen are talking, and she's confused. She was like, "Girl, like out of everybody else, like your mom, your friend girl group, why me?" And she was like, "I know we got complicated history, but I knew that you would not judge me, and that's simply all that I needed tonight. I couldn't deal with anything else that came with anybody else." And again, by the end of this episode, all of that is going to be confirmed, and she's well within her feelings of kind of moving how she decided to do. That just is what it is. Because while it's nice to give people the heads up and let people know what your plans are, you don't have to, because you were home. So, all right, whatever. Okay. So Fatima wants to know, like, okay, like, give me a little insight, like, what led you to this place, this state? And she's like, "I really kind of have no idea how I got here." Again, she tells her, like, "Hey, I was lost. I was so lost and so blinded by my grief that I didn't care about anything. And I still don't care about anything right now, that I'm just numb, whether that's family, friends, the baby relationship. I don't care, didn't care about any of it." And Fatima tells her, like, "Girl, I can't imagine." Again, I can sympathize, I can't empathize. Oh, however the terminology goes. I can only imagine what you're going through, but I just wanted to remind you, like, it's a lot to carry and you don't have to carry it alone. Just a very blanketed, subtle reminder. Appreciated that as well, which is, why she was led here. She felt that the ladies in the group finally understood where she was coming from, as opposed to everybody else. Like, "Girl, you're going to get over it. You're strong enough to endure. You're going to be fine. You're going to be fine. You're going to be fine." Sometimes you don't want to hear all that. So she is where people actually have firsthand knowledge of what this is and how to navigate this thing. So I, for one, am glad that she found this thing, this outlet. All right. Fatima, Karen, and Faith, we show back up at the apartment, and everybody breathes a sigh of relief. Like, "Oh my God, you're back. So glad everybody's fine. How's the baby?" And of course, Aaron grabs the baby immediately because, last we knew she was basically like in postpartum. That can go really bad. Understandable. Of course, everyone is kind of giving her the, I won't say a burning at the stake. I would just say a fifth degree. Everybody's like, "Where were you at? Why didn't you call nobody? Why didn't you tell nobody? Blah, 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 blah." So she has to tell them about the support group and, the sigh of relief that she was able to get there. And she knew that her angel baby had brought her to them. She knows that everybody has their own challenges when it comes to trying to communicate. And she just needed someone that could absolutely relate. For example, not for example, but she tells them that she trusted Fatima enough to hear her out and to come get her without the judgment. So that is what she did. Of course, you kind of see a divide. Like after the sigh of relief, we kind of see some people that are kind of standoffish and angry because she did not reach out to any of this predetermined list of people. And you see the people that just sit in with her and empathize with her and like, okay, doesn't matter who came to get you, just glad that you're safe. Okay. And then she asked Andy, like, oh, while we're here, Andy, I need you to speak to the ladies. And Andy's like, okay, Andy's had attitude since Fatima's coming to, since Fatima and Karen comes in the door. And she's like, for what? And she's like, because some of the women in the group were also patients of Dr. Cruz. And since you're pursuing the case, I think you could be of assistance. And so again, while everybody's sitting here giving her the fifth degree, she was like, all right, cool. Y'all are badgering me, asking me why I didn't reach out to this person and that person and why it was Fatima. Andy, you're preoccupied with the case. Danny, you could come off a bit strong in your delivery. Karen, you're kind of, not Karen, Sabrina, you're the pocket full of sunshine. You're the woo, 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 woo. Everything's going to be okay. Like, she was kind of breaking it down as to why I did not reach out to this person or this person or this person. And she was like, Pam, girl, you should already know why I'm not going to reach out to you. And, everybody kind of felt like they were just being slaughtered and kind of read for filth. And she was giving y'all her accurate and her open depiction as to why in this moment, while I may have been able to reach out to you for something else, in this moment, calling Fatima was my best logic. And I don't blame her. I don't care what y'all talking about. I don't blame her. Now, Zach and Fatima, they're home. He is pissy mad. You said you were going to call me if she showed up, and then you walk in with her and you talking to me about communication. He's mad that she ain't called her when Karen reached out to her. And then Chaz and the gift show up, and then she reminds him that he came home drunk, stumbling just yesterday. Matter of fact, while all this is going on, he's hungover and he's reeking of Hennessy and all this other stuff. They got a whole bunch of issues that are starting to piss me off because you are viscerally mad. It'll sound harsh, but it ain't your baby and Karen's not your woman. This thing was handled. It's a delicate situation. I feel like everybody handled it as best they could. There's no reason to be upset. Except for Aaron. Aaron might be the only logical and Karen's mama, because girl, you my baby. I don't want nothing to happen to you. So everybody else kind of has to take a back seat, in my opinion, to what is going on mentally, emotionally, and physically. This lady still just gave birth and her body's still going through some stuff. Just stall her out. Just give her some grace. Anyway, everybody's waking up the next day. Everybody's tired from being on the mad dash look for Karen the night before. And everybody's kind of reeling from Karen not letting them know whatever the issue is. Andy is at work and she's questioning Fatima about why she was the one that was chosen to be called. And Fatima's like, I don't know. Can't answer for that. I'm just glad they're safe. I'm glad she was comfortable enough to call somebody, anybody. That's all I got. Aaron is talking to Fatima. Talking to Karen, and he is mad because he felt shut out. And she's like, I was trying to figure this out. I was on my own. And he's like, no, you were not on your own. You kind of chose to be in that space alone. I was here every day when nobody else was here. I was here in and out. I was taking care of that baby when you were almost disgusted to even interact with her. She was like, I understand, but I was trying to find my way out of the darkness. And he's like, listen, I get it, but I just want to be let in. I kind of felt like I was fighting for a place in my family. And she was like, I understand. My apologies. I'm sorry. Again, this is just the best way that I can figure out to navigate this place that I've never been in. And she was like, and since we're here, this ain't even working. Like, this currently not working. He was like, what do you mean? She's like, and then he tells her like, hey, I don't want to keep chasing you around, to be a part of what you're going through. I need to be let in. And she offers him an apology. She does apologize. And she's like, what do you want from me, Karen? She's like, I don't have the answers currently. All I really know is that I need a change. And by change, that means she's ready to get the hell out of Atlanta. And that ends the episode. And so she's probably going to want to move out of Atlanta. And of course, there's going to be a lot of backlash and pushback coming from everybody in her life, all that good stuff. The takeaway from this episode that I that I was kind of able to take away is, again, like I said, I'm glad that she found the Sister Circle group, because when you're in a group of people, whether it's women, whether it's sorority sisters, club members, whatever it is, sometimes it is hard to get to have the floor and to have the space to heal in the way that you have decided you need to heal when everybody knows you in a different space and they don't know how to help you, or the way that they normally help you does not work in this situation. I'm trying to explain it in a way that makes sense to me, because as a person that is in multiple organizations and has multiple friend girl groups, or, you know, groups of people, when you're in a space, especially grief, I think I put a TikTok up about this like years ago. Grief is like glitter, right? So, you know, when you've got glitter on you and you find a couple specks and you brush it off, and then you look an hour later and you find another speck and you brush it off, and you come back a week later and you still, even when you think you got a grip on it, every now and again you see it, and it might give you might have a little bit of glimmer of hope or a little bit of joy in that thing, but it's never truly gone. Like, you could find glitter from a project or for something forever, for a long time. You like, I thought I vacuumed it all up, I thought I got it all away. That is how I equate grief. Grief is like glitter. Like, it's almost never really gone. Sometimes there's like a glimmer of hope, like, yes, it's all gone. It's all, and in the most unexpected moments, you look and you see that little sparkle. You see that thing coming back up in your spirit. And so I think it's hard, especially like you're in a friend girl group, right? Like I'm in a friend girl group, right? And I have a Danny, I have a Sabrina. Hell, I got an Aaron. Like, I have these personalities of people. And I understand that these people love you so much and they want you to be whole and they want you to be happy and they don't want you to be in this space. But it is hard because sometimes you don't have the words. You don't have the language to say, hey, I'm drowning. Or I feel like I'm simply a shadow. Like, I don't even know if I'm dead or alive. Like, it's hard to navigate my own stuff in myself, and trying to bring that up and express it to you so that you can help me is hard. It's taxing. So yeah, sometimes finding an external help does not mean that you appreciate your steady help or your steady group of people, your steady people that are in your life day in and day out. Does not mean you appreciate them any less. Sometimes you got to go out there and find some separate, unbiased help, whether that's a support group, whether that's therapy, whether that's church, whether that's a friend you met last week. Go get what you need from who you need it from, and do not feel guilty about it. Okay? All right. That's all I got. I'm getting off the soapbox for today. Again, that's for season 9, episode 13. Let me know what y'all think about the episode in the comments, and we'll talk about it there. In the meantime, I'll see y'all next week. Like, comment, share, subscribe, or whatever it is that you feel like doing. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.